Hey everybody, welcome back to Get Inspired, Stay Inspired. Here again with Dr. Marty and Dr. Donna. Hey ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
Today is part 2 of emotional eating. And before we get into the next question that we're going to answer for you, we want to just go back a little bit in case you haven't watched part 1 yet. And so I want to ask Dr. Marty. Dr. Marty, what is emotional eating?
Emotional eating is basically anything that you do that you're eating out of not being hungry. So whether it's you're bored, whether it's you're excited, whether it's you're celebrating, depressed, stressed out, anytime that you are very conscious of the fact that you are reaching for food at a time when your body is not actually physically hungry, we could consider that emotional eating. And we talked a lot about that last week. So if you haven't caught up with that, you might want to go back to part 1 because we really expanded on that. But that's basically emotional eating in a nutshell.
Yeah, thanks. And Dr. Donna, tell me, how do we know that we are emotional eating? How do we know that our emotions are making us eat?
So, our emotions, kind of trigger a lot of different things. So your emotions, when you're really sad, and the thing that you turn to is food, right? And so you eat large quantities of food when you're sad, when you're happy, and you're really not hungry. It's just kind of soothing to take in all that food. The hunger isn't there, but the craving or the emotion triggers that particular food. And a lot of people go for that one specific food or quantities of food.
I think also people feel satisfied when they're eating, although they're not hungry. And then afterwards, it makes them feel guilty.
Exactly. And so one of the signs of, the emotional eating is that, you want that food when that particular emotion triggers you. But then after you eat that, you feel completely guilty and you shouldn't have, and you don't feel well. So that is a true sign of the emotional eating.
Yeah. Also, they say that emotional eating is that people are trying to band-aid a problem that they're not facing with eating, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, correct.
And I think a lot of times when you turn to emotional eating, most of the time you're not eating a balanced meal. Like if you think about the times that we emotionally eat, and we are all guilty of it to some extent, even when we know what we're doing, a lot of times we still do it anyway. It's a coping mechanism. And when you're an emotional eater, it's not like you're sitting down and making yourself a healthy portion of, your meat, your veggies, and a nice healthy fruit. I don't know anybody that emotionally eats celery, for example. So that's one of those things that if you find yourself in the cupboards just reaching for the bag of potato chips, you might be emotionally eating. There's no rhyme or reason to it, and you definitely don't take the time to prepare yourself a healthy meal. Very rarely do we emotionally eat super healthy foods. That's one of the that's a huge clue right there. If you're reaching for the tub of Ben and Jerry's, you might be emotionally eating.
Yeah. I when you're saying that, I think about how we usually don't make any good decisions out of emotions anyways. Like people can emotionally shop.
Yes, that's my thing.
Marty can tell us about
Guilty.
that.
Yeah.
We could have a whole series on that one.
Yeah, Dr. Marty's the shopper in our group.
But think about it, emotionally eating, emotionally shopping, emotionally making a decision that normally is not the best one. It's incredible, and people deal with that every day. It's so common.
Yeah, it's an impulse.
Yeah,
basically
Go ahead, Dr. Marty. Sorry.
No, it's an impulse, and it has, and a lot of times, and we're going to talk about this probably next week. There's ways to control that, because there's a lot of people that say, "Well, I just couldn't control it." Yeah. Sure, you can. We just have to teach you how. And again, as you get better at making the right choices at a time of high emotional stress, it becomes a habit, like everything else in life. As you make better choices, you create better habits. And I think that's one of the main things that we try to focus on at Inspire. is helping you learn how to make better, consistent choices forever. Because I think that's so important, not just for a couple of weeks because you're behaving, but to learn to empower you basically to make better choices forever and give you the tools that you need so that you can learn how to do better choices for life.
Yeah. I
Dr.
think
Marty hit that right on the head. You have to act, not react to your emotions. And that goes with the food, with the shopping, with anything on that. And so that's super important. When you're under stress, you may not act, you may react. So next week, we'll certainly talk about the way to react and act properly.
Yeah, and again, most of that is habit forming.
Yeah, I think a new emotional eating is emotional binge watching. That's a new thing now where people are Netflixing, or whatever, and they're hiding under, or they're just like sitting on the couch and they're just not facing anything that's going on, and they're just binge watch shows.
And well, it's probably healthier to an extent than, reaching for a bag of potato chips, except that unfortunately, most of the time you're watching TV and you're making the tub of popcorn, or you're reaching for a snack, and so, you need to figure out how to respond to stress and cope with stress, because we all have it, in ways that are going to be healthier at the end point of it. Because if you're already stressed out for whatever reason, and now you throw in a bunch of unhealthy behaviors, whether it is, shopping, or whether it is, binge watching TV and not moving from your couch for 2 days, or whether it is eating a whole cheesecake, at the end result of that is going to give you more stress. Yeah. So,
sure.
So we just need to learn better coping mechanisms, I believe, as a whole.
And that's something that the clients do at Inspire Weight Loss, our practices, is because, they do a 6-week program, chances are sometime within those 6 weeks, they're going to hit an emotional point. And they're going to learn how to deal with that without reaching for the chips or for the chocolate or for the mall or whatever it may be, right? So that is definitely something that they learn to deal with when they're on our program.
For sure. I think each and every one of us, and every one of our clients or patients that go through the program certainly hit that point. And that's why we are very successful in helping people not only lose the weight, but also to keep it off, because we help them identify and give them coping skills, not to react to those emotions, to substitute those with foods.
And I think that's part of the importance of having a coach guide you through that journey, because there's a lot of do-it-yourself programs out there. I mean, every day there's more popping out. You could track yourself with an app. You could track yourself, online. You could order, you can fill out a survey online and they send you all this stuff, and but you're still doing it yourself.
Yeah.
And if you haven't figured out how to identify the triggers and how to cope and how to get coached through some of those moments where you might completely screw yourself up out of a great result that you were getting, then you're basically restarting and restarting and restarting all the time without actually ever hitting any milestones. And that's frustrating. That's super frustrating. I know that I've been a yo-yo dieter for years before I discovered this way. And it's one of those things that, great, it's fantastic that you're starting over. We never want you to give up on your journey, ever, ever, ever. No matter how bad you mess it up, we want you to actually continue. That's the first, that's the key. But it's a lot easier to do with guidance, for sure.
For sure.
I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I said, okay, if you have a room full of 500 people and you ask the question, do you know what to do to lose weight? Everybody will raise their hand, because everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's the other half. It's the actually doing it and having the proper coaching and following through with it. That is, what people need help with.
Yeah. Coach Martha, I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, when we have patients or clients coming into the office, you know, and you ask them what kind of foods they're eating, and they look at you and say, oh, they're all bad foods. Those are foods I shouldn't be eating, right? And so and most of them say, I know what I'm supposed to be eating.
Yep.
But I just don't.
Yep.
It's hard.
hard.
It's hard. Of course it's hard.
So in
Yeah.
preparation for part three, we're going to be talking about how to avoid giving those tips and tools to avoid emotional eating. But in preparation for that, for those of you that are watching, you know, we want to task you with, in the next week, try to have an awareness of what those triggers are that cause you to emotionally eat. And then we're going to give you some tips next week on how to deal with them. And we're here to help anybody through this process, you know, whether it's weight loss, whether it's, you know, new habits that you need to form, whatever it may be. We are here at Inspire Weight Loss. We deal with all of this, don't we, ladies?
Yes, we do.
Oh, yes, all day long.
Deal with everything. And you know what? And we love to do it. We do it on a daily basis, hundreds and hundreds of people. And that's what our passion is at Inspire, right, guys?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, we want to help. We want to be a tool that you guys could use for healthy lifestyle changes that are permanent forever, that you could pass on to your children, that you could pass on to the rest of your family. We want it to spread out. Same way that bad habits can be learned. We want you to learn good habits and pass those on. And I think one more, if you're truly following along with us and you've started with the first step and you started with the second step, Martha is asking you to keep track of what triggers you, and I'm going to give you one more step. I'm going to ask you to write down what you're eating for this week. So if you're truly honest with yourself and you're truly wanting to make a huge change, let's keep a journey, a journal this week of what you're eating and what your emotions are while you're eating, and let's see where we could go with that next week.
Yeah, awesome. So we're looking forward to next week, how to avoid emotionally eating. Thank you, Dr. Marty from Inspire Lake Nona. Your new office opens soon, right?
Oh my goodness, we are waiting for power. We're waiting for the power company to put in our new meter because it's a brand new building and it's going to be gorgeous. But unfortunately, the electric company is delayed. We could have been in there this week, but they haven't gone by. Everything else is ready, and we're just kind of like,
so exciting.
We're going.
It's
so exciting.
Yeah. Time. It's going to happen the perfect time.
It will. It always
so
does.
exciting.
Yeah. Dr. Donna, thank you. Inspire Weight Loss Nutley. Yes.
And Inspire Weight Loss Nutley is expanding. So we're going to have some construction going on to be better to serve everybody.
So
if you're driving around Nutley and you see a hot mess in that corner over there, where on Franklin Avenue, Dr. Donna's office is growing.
Donna's there.
Yeah.
Just in case nobody knows where that is. New Jersey. Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, we're spreading to bring health to everyone that needs it, right? We're here to help. So we'll catch you guys next week with how to avoid emotional eating. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.